Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 8th work session. There are two county commissioners here, I and Commissioner Dahl. And it's a work session because we discuss issues, and I'm pending someone from the PAO's office. We are expecting.
Yes, he emailed this morning. He was coming via Zoom.
Okay.
HR needs moved over to you as well.
Jessica, welcome.
Hi. How are you guys?
Good. We're well, thank you. You're going to be in your office as opposed to here?
I can come down there. I didn't have a whole lot of to add. I'm just here in support of the contract, so.
Okay, no, that's fine. I don't think there's any
Mhm.
reason to disturb you there.
Okay.
I should have looked over and said, do you agree, Rick?
I agree.
Good. So what we are discussing or will discuss shortly is a contract. Actually, Jessica, did you want to talk about the purpose of the contract?
Sure. So Nicole Tideman, she was our previous civil attorney over in the PA's office, and she's since moved on to Walstead Merchant. Sorry, my voice is going to be a little rough today, but she's since moved on to Walstead Merchant, but she is, well, we have a professional service agreement for her to come on board as our attorney to assist in employee related contract matters for human resources.
Right, and we've had such arrangements with other attorneys for quite a long time. Right.
Yeah.
And this will be an arrangement not additive, it'll be in place of.
In place of, there are some current matters that we're working with Ogletree, so I'll likely need to work with the PA's office and Nicole on the transition with some of the legal matters that we're working on currently. But yeah, this would be in place of.
Okay. And are we expecting a comparable number of hours that we used in the past? So that the contract price overall will be about the same?
That's what I would assume. We are heading into a labor negotiation year, so this year is probably going to be utilizing these legal services about the same as we would any other year that we have labor negotiations, but probably more so than last year.
Did you say the other day you had, wasn't there 5 contracts coming up you had to work on? Was it 5?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 contracts this year.
Yeah. Maybe a little higher, aren't?
Yeah. Now, just for the public to know, Nicole is very well known and very well appreciated in the county, certainly in the county administration, very highly regarded. So I feel it's a score for us.
Agreed. I worked really closely with her while she was here, and I always worked really well with her, and I'm looking forward to being able to work with her again.
Because I don't really know her or the history. She specializes in contracts, or do you also utilize her if you have employee issue?
Yeah, so if there's an employee issue, reviewing, notices of discipline, reviewing what type of action we would take. If it goes through the grievance process, it could eventually lead to arbitration, which is the attorney would represent us in an arbitration situation. So.
Okay, great.
In past executive sessions here, she's been quite active and quite constructive.
Perfect.
So is that Doug Jensen?
That is me.
That is I, said the little red hen, huh? I apologize for abusing you, Mr. Jensen.
It's
Such is life, huh?
a public job. What can I say?
What you can say is talk to us about this agreement and the highlights. And my impression is it's a go. So
With Nicole, yeah. The other factor is, and I know this has been an issue with you, it keeps local dollars locally. I mean, it's a local law firm. We do use services both for employment law assistance to Jessica, but also this will replace monies that have for decades been going across the Columbia River to a Portland firm, and now those dollars will rotate locally now, which is a good thing.
as we are now, apparently we will be fading out the Portland contract and
Correct.
fading
In talking briefly with Attorney Tideman, the plan was to phase out that representation and only address those matters that are currently either subject to conflict or wrapping up any MOUs or documents, agreements that need to be finalized. Other than that, I know you have a number of matters coming up this year, and she'll be taking the lead on those.
Yeah, do we had the contract dropped here not long ago, so I haven't perused it completely. Is there anything there about which we should be alerted?
On this particular one,
Yeah,
only that because it's a local firm, I worked with Attorney Anderson on exchanging some documents on conflict of interest. There's always with a local firm, there's always potential of overlap with clients that work for the county or claims that may impact the county. And in such case, they would isolate the attorney from, they call it a ethical shield, from any involvement or any contact regarding those matters. So that's why there's a separate conflicts letter for the commission to sign.
okay. And do we have any, we state the dollar amount per hour. We don't state the number of hours because we don't know what those hours.
You don't
would
know,
be.
but they've Walstead has agreed to come in at what Ogletree out of Portland is currently charging.
Okay,
So all good.
this is all good. Now, your advice on this, I could call for a vote here. Is that what you'd like, and then put that on a consent agenda and a
Yeah,
following
I think that's
Tuesday?
appropriate. Is that vote to move ahead with it and to and at the consent agenda approve the execution of the agreement. I can't remember exactly how it's drafted. I know the conflicts of letter is drafted for signature by the chair.
Yeah,
And I think you've talked about whether your choice, whether to do this in the work sessions or on the consent agenda. It's up to you. Either or suffices for purposes of OPMA. It's really a policy decision, and
yeah.
we don't do policy. So you go.
Because we know Nicole so well and this is a replacement contract, if you will.
Mhm.
I think it's almost a no-brainer. Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Dahl?
I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
Okay, should this be a formal motion or just a gentleman's agreement here?
Just a formal motion for the board to approve the agreement, a quorum, and then authorize signatories on the agreements. If there's just, if there's just, I think there's one for this, the chair or acting chair and on the conflicts letter, and you would approve signature on that under 36, 32, and 100.
Oh, yeah, I did want to say in terms of conflict, that's one thing that I've observed that the lawyers are very, very careful about that.
Yeah. I actually suggested to them that they and drafted a conflicts letter for them. So it meets our approval.
So, Mr. Dahl, a motion? The motion would be something like approving the contract and the conflict of letter interest to, which will be presented on the consent agenda as soon as it's available.
That's fine.
Good.
Yeah, that gets you there.
Then I would move to approve the contract with Walstead Merching and the conflict of interest letter. That would be on the consent agenda.
Yep.
Yep.
So now I've got to ask if anybody has any questions, the public or the board. I don't see any hands. There's nobody in the audience. Let me give it a moment or two. Seeing no hands, let's go ahead and do the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye. The motion passes. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye-bye. So do we have any miscellaneous?
I don't today. Kind of went over stuff yesterday.
Yeah, I copied. Trying to remember that email. The mind's a terrible thing. Anyhow, it must be so terribly important that we can probably ignore it.
Yeah.
From the clerk. Okay, next week, it'll be the two of us again. You're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
All week.
all week. Okay, so the meeting's adjourned.